is a high degree of unemployment, especially for minorities. And if there is an opportunity to get unskilled labor onto these jobs through the contractors, through the subcontractors, is another avenue I would like for folks to think about, because this is an opportunity for people to be employed, and it's not a lot of them that's been happening here in Lorain County in the last 10 years with the manufacturing industry shutting down. So that's some of the things I want to put on the table, food for thought. I am constantly talking with Paul, with Evelyn. Evelyn has set up some scholarships for some folks to be able to come to the expo, but I think it needs to be ongoing type of communications. And then when you have your bid meetings and your pre-bid meetings, making sure that that information gets out into the minority community, possibly through media, and working with our local radio stations like WJTB to give them a small contract or something to make sure that information gets out into our community, because no matter how hard we try, it seems like we get that information after the fact. It always seems like we get it after things are done. So I want to make sure that we have all of the avenues to make sure that people know and are informed as we go forward with this project. Thank you.
Mr. Wright, I want to welcome you tonight. I am so very glad to see you.
Evelyn threatened me to be at this meeting tonight, so I'm here.
I am so very glad to see you. But as you see, you're getting firsthand information tonight. And for the foreseeable future, what we are planning on doing, as Madam President just referred to earlier, just so it's real clear to everybody that's here and everybody that's listening, our first meeting of the month was when our construction manager and our architect are going to come. When they come, that's the first information we have. You're going to be hearing it at the same time that we're hearing it. The audience will have an opportunity to participate in the discussion, and that means that Paul has to schedule stuff so that the only thing that is happening at this first meeting is the discussion of what's happening on the project, whether that meeting take place at Elyria High or that meeting take place here. The first meeting of the month, you can mark it on your calendar, and it was suggested that there's a possibility that if Wednesday night is not a good night, that we could, when we schedule our meetings for the next year, that we could look at, you know, scheduling it so that it's conducive that the community can come out and be at those meetings. But it is essential. Everything that happens at these board meetings is information that the community needs to know, not just about the building of the high school, but I will continue to say it. It is crucial that our community participate in this process. And if you can't come to the meetings, we do air it. How soon will this air, Amy? Within a couple of days. But it's still going to be on track. It's still going to be new information, because remember, we're just hearing this tonight. This phase of the construction project is something that's controlled by OSFC, but there is enough time for people to understand what is going on. That's why we've started this process. That's why we broadcast this meeting. And they can request a meeting at any time. And as you heard, everybody has said, give us a call. We are actively pursuing trying to get contractors involved in this project. I've also received calls from people that want to make money on this whole process. We're trying to find a way to educate the contractors to be able to bid on this process at no cost to them other than what it's going to take to do the project. That's why the scholarships were offered. That's why we have these open sessions. That's why Regency said they are experienced in doing the EDGE certification, and they're more than willing to host a meeting to walk people through that process. So Fred, you know, we want you here. You saw how my eyes lit up when you walked in this room. I'm gonna be looking for you and your counterparts. I got it in the post office. This is an open meeting. This is your meeting. Come, be here, be a part of it. That's all I have to say.
John, I think we had another question. If you could just state your name.
I'd like to try without the microphone, actually.
No,
Well, we can't hear it on the TV if we don't.
Okay. My name is Sherry Ames. I'm actually here as an interested resident, in particular regarding the high school and the construction. I'm a strong advocate of green building, and I was very encouraged to hear about the geothermal heating and the LEED certification discussion tonight. And my question is, how far is that going to go? Are there other aspects of green building that will be incorporated? And is there a consideration for making this a green certified building, a LEED certified building, I should say?
Yeah.
As I talked to you earlier, geothermal is one aspect of the project we are looking at. Another aspect of the project we are looking at, and we are implementing on all our projects, on other projects also, is lighting control, daylighting control. So if what we do is, if the daylight outside over here, say for example, as this classroom requires X number of foot candles, and we have light from outside, which is whatever the foot candles are called for, your interior lights dim automatically. So you save on the energy of lighting all over the school. So that's another control thing we are putting in the buildings, which is considered as a LEED item. We are looking at, there are a number of items. We are looking at water, how conservation, how we can do that. Again, we have a site, a very limited site. We haven't gone into details yet, but we're going to be looking at all the items which are, to answer your question, whether it is going to be LEED certified or not. We personally would like to, but we have a partner over here, which is Ohio School Facilities Commission. We have to get their permission, and as you know, there is cost associated with these items. We need to make sure that somebody shares that cost, And again, I'm speaking on my own, but I cannot speak on behalf of the board. There is a cost associated for certification if we go to whatever level we want to go. Our goal is to see if we can get to the silver level, which is 37 to 43 points if we can. That's what our goal is. I don't know how far we'll go, but that's our goal, to get to the silver level certification.
I think one of the, a huge piece of it is the Washington building itself. The adaptive reuse of a building, which also gets a significant number of points in the LEED certification. So by keeping the Washington building, we are going to be able to use that also as a major point gatherer for that certification. With today's materials, carpets, ceiling tiles having low VOCs, the off-gassing, which are much more user and personal friendly today, you're going to find that it's not that hard to gain at least the first or second ranking of accreditation. So we're going to be looking at that hard.
Yes, ask another one.
Well, what I wanted to comment about that is in regard to cost. I've looked at a number of different studies that have been done over the past probably 7 or so years. And what I have seen is that generally, at most, you usually end up spending about 2% more for the green building. But you don't always. They have had some recent construction projects where that wasn't the case. It depends on how it's done, and that makes a big difference. In incorporating it now is really crucial, where you can have more savings. But another thing I would say to consider is that the demolition materials. You can make a major difference to landfills and to, possibly even taking those houses that instead of demoing, what about letting somebody come and take it away, and you don't have to deal with demoing. But there's other ways to even deal with deconstruction, and that could make a difference too. But in regard to the water, if you used green building standards, you usually end up getting 30% cost, and sometimes it's up to 5 to 10 years you get your payback time.